Do I feel lucky? Well, do you, punk?
Good morning, Vietnam!
I love the smell of napalm in the morning.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
I feel the need for speed.
I wish I knew how to quit you.
Love means never having to say you're sorry.
You do. You'll shoot your eye out, kid.
What up, film fans? Happy Tuesday. Welcome to episode 325. Welcome to Gladiator 2, and welcome. You're listening to a new episode of the Cine-Men movie podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Juan, and I'm joined by the cast, the crew, the Gladiators. Zach?
Hey, what's going on, guys?
Jay?
Hey guys, how's it going?
It has been a long week. It feels like we did Wizard of Oz like a month ago.
Yeah, no joke.
I was prepped for that. I'm sorry I missed out on that talk. I was prepped for that. I've watched all kinds of special features, and then when it came down to it, I choked and passed out.
He got caught up in the poppy fields.
I did.
If you guys want to listen to last week's episode, we had a fun conversation all about the Wizard of Oz. Go back and listen to the episode wherever you listen to podcasts at. iHeart Radio, Podbean, Spotify, YouTube Music, Amazon Music, TuneIn, Stitcher, and right here, if you're watching live on Emisawa Productions YouTube channel, hit us up. You can watch us and check us out on social media. All the social media has all of our links to all of our episodes, past, present, and future. You can hit us up on the Facebook page at facebook.com/the Cine-Men Movie Podcast. Instagram is all one word, / the Cine-Men Movie Podcast. X is at Cinnamon405. And then the email, just the old-fashioned, you got mail, is at CINEMEN921 @gmail.com. I think that's a Tom Hanks movie we have yet to talk about one day. Maybe we should.
True.
But anyway, the season of gifting is coming up. The season of giveaways is coming up. So keep an eye out on those social medias for some digital copy giveaways, some San Marcos gift certificates, some OKC soda. So we do some stuff every holidays, and we give some stuff away. Last year, we did a Thanksgiving drive. You could hit up the 2 local homelands in Norman, and then there was one here in Oklahoma City that you guys can go and donate some food. It was a box with our big poster on it. You guys could donate food, and then I drove those and took those down to the mission down here in Oklahoma City to give away some food. This year, we're a month away from Christmas today exactly. So this year I'm doing a toy drive. So if you guys want to be part of that, keep an eye out for our toy drive. The links are in the social media. You guys can just Instagram, Facebook. You guys can keep an eye on those posts, and I will have 2 toy box drives, 2 boxes that you guys can just dump off gifts or coats, and we will take those to some local churches here in Oklahoma City. So follow that up. But before we get ready and get into the episode, we got a jam-packed episode. We're going to talk some movie news. We're going to talk some box office, and then we're going to get into Gladiator 2. But before we get started with Gladiator, Jay, since we didn't talk to you last week, man, do you have any recent watches, or you want to recommend anything?
No, I've just been going through and rewatching some horror series. I went through prior and watched all the Friday the 13th. I found them kind of boring, but hey, that's just me. But then I got into the Freddy series, and I was like, okay, that's a lot better. There we go. Now I'm starting Batman.
If you had to pick, how many movies are probably watchable in that Friday the 13th series?
Not very many. Not very many at all, in my opinion. Like I was telling you that there was a spot in part 3 that it just like jump cuts to another scene. It's just like they're just like fuck it, it don't matter. That's the 3D one.
Oof, yeah, that one is kind of terrible. If you guys want to follow any of my recent watches or life events, hit me up on the Instagram. It's all one word, Cinnamon Movie Podcast. I started some Christmas movies early just to try to get in the spirit. Last year I watched like 5 total all year. I think this year I've already reached 5. Um, I watched 4 different versions of A Christmas Carol. George C. Scott, Alistair Sims, Bill Murray, and the Jim Carrey one. Highly recommend all those. Go out and look for them.
I
The Jim
still haven't seen the Muppets Christmas Carol yet.
I haven't seen that yet either. I'm on the hunt for that this week.
Look out, vintage stock.
I rewatched Gladiator, getting ready for Gladiator 2. I checked out The Polar Express. And then I'm trying to run through some Robin Williams movies before next week. Jumanji, Good Morning Vietnam, and Aladdin. And then I watched Gladiator 2 for today's episode. If I had to recommend anything, go check out Gladiator 2. It's in theaters right now. So, Zach, what about you?
Yeah, the same. It's kind of a slow week for me. Went and saw Gladiator 2. I watched the first episode of A Dune Prophecy on Max. It's fine. It's nowhere near as entertaining as the 2 movies. It's set like 10,000 years before Paul Atreides, and it's kind of like how the Bene Gesserit, the Sisterhood, got formed and all that stuff. It's going to be 6 episodes. I'm just going to write it out, see what happens. Other than that, I think sometime this week we're going to see Moana 2 and then Wicked for Thanksgiving. But I did want to recommend. I never seen this movie. I was curious. Let me check it out. Notting Hill with Julia Roberts and Hugh Grant. Very, very good. Very good romantic comedy. Very good. I highly recommend it.
Zach, don't go to the movies on Thanksgiving. Let those people have an easy shift and let them go home peacefully.
No, they're going to entertain me, damn it.
Let them go home.
Are they not entertained is my question.
I have some stuff that we can get through as far as some movie news. If anybody else wants to bring anything to the table, you can. I wanted to bring this up. Zach, what do you guys think about the Stitch 2 trailer? Did you guys see the Stitch 2 trailer?
I did.
Or the Stitch trailer, the remake?
Yep.
You're not interested at all?
I'll be honest, I'm not a big fan of the original Lilo and Stitch, so I'm just
you're terrible.
Why are we doing this? It'll make money. I'll say that. It'll make money for it.
Man.
But I'm not really looking forward to it. Are you excited about it?
Humbug. Yeah. Stitch is a fun character. I think I think they'll put their own 2025 spin on it, and hopefully it'll be updated, and I think it'll be fun as long as it's not 2 hours. I think some of those movies can drag. So Jay, what about you? Are you excited? You kind of
I'll watch it. Fuck it.
What if this is your Lion King and you hate it like just tremendously hate it like I do, like the Lion King remake?
Well, I didn't like Lion King, or I didn't like Lilo and Stitch that much as you like the Lion King. But what do you guys think of this? Alec Baldwin is in the news again, and it still has to do with the shooting on the movie. The mother of the daughter who was killed is not supporting the release this week. This is the premiere week for the movie, and she is just not wanting anything to do with the movie, rightfully so. That's her choice. But her excuse is I don't know. What do you guys think? Her excuse is that because Alec Baldwin has not came out and publicly apologized to her or her daughter, she doesn't want anything to do with him. What do you guys think? Should he publicly take the blame and still apologize, or does he have the right to just refuse to talk about it at all?
He was acquitted, right? Like they
Right.
can't charge him or anything like that ever again, right? Like
Right.
it's done.
Yeah.
My thing is just like, look, it was a very tragic accident, but there are too many variables at play that, like, this was a very preventable situation, but at the end of the day, he says he did nothing wrong. The court said he did nothing wrong. I agree with you, Johnny. The mom has full right not to go to support the movie. That's totally fine. It's just this is just this. Unfortunately, this is going to be a cloud over Alec Baldwin's career for the rest of his life. Unfortunately.
I don't want to make any joke of the situation, but like I feel like all the court costs and court fees is going to make more money than the actual movie does.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
This movie's called what? What's it called? Rust.
Rust. Yeah.
Yeah. By the time this movie comes out, I think the movie itself would probably have collected rust. But it's unfortunate of what happened. But yeah, man, I agree. I think Alec Baldwin should still step up and apologize to the family publicly, like a life was taken. You know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
I mean, if he just said, "Look, I'm truly sorry what happened to your daughter," I mean, just come out and just say that. I think he'd get a lot more respect for that. Honestly.
yeah. Steven Spielberg's new movie has a May 16th.
Hell yeah. I don't care.
2026 release date. So that's still a year away, a year and a half.
Yep.
But it's kind of like got some top secret news on it. Universal's calling it, there's not really a name to it yet, but they're calling it Summer Event for the title of the movie while they talk about it. Any idea what this could be?
I've heard mixed things. I've heard it's a Bullet remake with Bradley Cooper. I've heard that was in the works. I've also heard that it's maybe like another alien invasion film. I don't know.
I heard this is a flat out reboot of Jaws. Coming out summer in May of 2026. I've heard that from a person a few months ago, and then I heard that recently on a few news channels. But everything summer release is pointing to a Jaws remake. What would you guys think of that?
If Spielberg remade Jaws, I mean, I don't know why he would want to do that, but I mean, maybe with just new technology, maybe, I don't know. I mean, I'm not I mean, I'll go see it, obviously, but I hardly doubt it's a Jaws remake, but I've been wrong before, so what would you think about it?
I'd be fine with it. I think it's not like he's doing somebody else's movie. It's his movie.
Yeah,
Universal. It's a Universal picture. They still have all the rights to it. I think it'd be pretty cool.
I heard this was the years ago. I don't know if this is true or not, but I heard that Universal legally cannot remake Jaws until Spielberg dies. Like he has some kind of clause or contract saying that they can't touch the movie while he's alive.
But he can touch it.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
So yeah, it could be.
And I wonder if he wants to do that before he dies. That way that way he's like, oh, at least I know they won't remake it in like 5 years.
Yeah, that's true.
Jay, you a fan of the original? Would you be interested in him doing his own movie again?
Hey, whatever he wants to do, right? He's good.
He has.
I don't think it'll be it'll be an ET remake. This time ET just flips his fucking lid, kills Elliot.
That's pretty dark. His finger turns into a big old knife, like Terminator 2.
Ouch.
Box office numbers. Jay, do you want to read off the box office numbers?
Yeah. Fifth place, Venom with 3.9. This movie, I'm not sure what some of these movies. I don't even know what the hell they are, so I haven't been checking out the billboard. But Pastor, Spy, Assassin got 5 million for the weekend. Red One limping along with 13.2. Gladiator 2 came in at number 2 with 55 million, and then Wicked, no surprise, with 112.5 million for the weekend.
And these are all locally right here in the U.S.
Correct.
Yeah, no surprise. Top 3. I think they'll stay like that too for the next few weeks.
Well, you got
Moana
2.
Comes out tomorrow.
From what I'm seeing, it made 50 million. Wicked did internationally over the weekend, and it had 178 million for the worldwide box office for the weekend.
Gladiator 2 did better overseas, and Wicked did better over here, which is kind of strange. But
Gladiator 2, from what I've seen, it came out some places
a week early,
over a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's got a $165 million international total so far. It's setting at 226 worldwide.
Speaking of Gladiator 2, let's talk about it. That's what we're talking about today. After his home is conquered by the emperors who now lead Rome, Lucius is forced to enter the Coliseum and must look to his past to find strength to return glory of Rome to its people. Currently on IMDb, it sets at a 7 out of 10, 72% on Rotten Tomatoes, 63% Metascore, starring Paul Mescal, Denzel Washington, Pedro Pascal, Connie Nielsen, Joseph Quinn, Fred Hinger, directed by Ridley Scott. Yeah, we are in some spoiler territory. This movie just came out November 22nd, 2024, with a budget between $250 and $300 million. So far globally, it has made $221 million at the box office. Let's dig into it. If you guys have not seen Gladiator 2, it's in theaters now. We're at 16 minutes and 50 seconds. Go check it out or listen to the podcast, and maybe it'll make you go check it out in theaters this weekend. So, Zach, we'll start with you. We've all just seen it the one time. As soon as the movie was over, a few short words. What'd you think?
I was very entertained. I'll just go ahead and use that. I thought it was epic. I had great performances. Overall, I enjoyed it. I just thought it was very, very similar to the first film, honestly. So those are my little summary so far.
I'm complete opposite. I think it was far superior than the first one. And I think there was just two really good performances. And we'll talk about it. But I was very, very surprised and thoroughly entertained as well. Jay, what about you?
Hey, man, I enjoy being there.
Jay was entertained.
There we go.
Let's dig into it then.
This was like my first movie going experience in like probably a year, man, and I was holding out hope for something. I didn't go in watching the first one again. I haven't seen the first one in years, so I don't know how closely to the template it fell.
So let's talk about that then for a minute, because I think Zach probably rewatched the first one. I did.
Yep.
Jay, you did not. I don't think this sequel needs a rewatch of the first one. I think it does very good with the beginning story, the flashbacks. I think this movie also does very good with the flashbacks in between the movie, to where I think you don't need to watch the first one at all. And as if you're watching us live here on Imswap Productions YouTube channel or Facebook Live, there's a picture of the Coliseum. But I think this movie has 10 times more action than the first one ever thought about. I was on the edge of my seat, entertained with this movie more than I was, honestly, the first one. And I've seen the first one like a handful of times, 5 or 6 times. And I don't know. I know Russell Crowe won an award for Gladiator, but I don't think his performance stands the test of time when you rewatch it.
I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm saying I totally agree. This movie has a lot more action and a lot more cooler like set pieces than the first one did. I'm just saying that like. Go ahead.
No.
No, I'm just saying. Just after rewatching this movie and then going to see this one, the story structure is very similar to the first one.
Oh yeah.
That's what I'm getting at. I'm not saying that it's a superior film. I'm just saying that structurally what Lucius goes through is very similar to what Maximus does.
Oh yeah, of course. Act 1, Act 2, Act 3, very similar to Maximus.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as the action goes, as far as the cinematography goes, I'm even wanting to say there's two performances in this movie that outdo Russell Crowe. I don't know about Joaquin Phoenix. Joaquin Phoenix was pretty great in Gladiator. But I think honestly, it's just more the story in this one is much easier to follow and is more concrete than the first movie because of there's so many twists and turns and
Yeah.
backstabbings and all that leading through the movie. Um,
Yeah.
I don't know. That's just me, at least as far as the second one goes.
No, I agree. I think there are a lot more twists and turns in this one. I was very surprised. We're at 21 minutes, so spoilers ahead. If you haven't seen Gladiator 2, go see it, or keep listening. I was very surprised that Pedro Pascal has the role that he has compared to Denzel Washington, which I mean, obviously, but I mean, like
What do you
his.
mean? You wanted Denzel to be the good
I
guy?
thought no. I thought Denzel. I knew going in Denzel was probably going to be the bad guy.
Oh,
I just didn't.
he's a great bad guy.
Oh yeah, and the his evilness just keeps rising throughout the entire film. It's just a very sinister character that just gets more and more power hungry as the movie goes. But what I'm talking about is I thought Denzel would have a limited role and Pedro Pascal would be ultimately the big villain. Honestly.
See, I like that it was the opposite. I liked Pedro. Not saying because if you go back and listen to the Wonder
We
Woman,
all know.
I hated that guy, but he has grown to kind of be on my good side lately, and I really do enjoy everything he's been in, and I enjoyed him a lot in this movie. Jay, you'd mentioned during the movie that hey, he's not really in it that much. I think his limited role is good, and because at first you're kind of like, I don't like this guy. He's kind of is he the reason maybe she hasn't persuaded and went and looked for her son? But then you find out that's not the reason at all, and they kind of make you feel for Pedro Pascal's character and then his ultimate demise.
Yeah.
So, what'd you guys think of the Emperors? I thought the Emperors were absolutely insane, but in a good way in this movie.
Every time they were on screen, I just like, please die in some horrible fashion. One of them does, which made me very happy. But I thought that Joseph Quinn and Fred Henninger, I thought they played two really good, just evil, maniacal, crazy emperors. And I like how at the beginning it just said it's been 16 years since Marcus Aurelius, and basically Rome has fallen into this like pitfall of hell where it's just these two crazy emperors. And I agree, you really don't need to see the first one because the opening Paint Pascal credits, which I really, really loved, it kind of gave you like, okay, here's what happened before in a very brief detail,
Yeah,
and
he was
you're off.
Yeah, he was a gladiator. People liked him. He died. He had an illegitimate, kind of an illegitimate son.
They
Legitimate.
retcon that.
Yeah.
You watch the film again. It
Yeah.
just says in dialogue that I have a son that is his father died in battle or something, and he's the same age as yours. And in this movie, Denzel throws a line out saying like, "Oh, it was a prearranged marriage. She had multiple affairs." I was like, "Okay, yeah, okay, that's fine. I can accept that." It bothered me a little bit, but I was just like, you know what? We had to root for this character for some reason, Lucius as a character, and it has to be because he's Maximus's son. That's the only logical sense in that.
Yeah.
I'm assuming Denzel was one of your favorite performances. Who was the other one?
I think Denzel was probably the only performance that I thought was maybe on like a high notched level. The other only person was the guy who played Lucius.
Oh, Paul Mescal. Yeah.
Yeah,
I thought he was good.
I thought he was really good. I haven't seen him in much before this, and he kind of was the basic gladiator like character, But I think his two really big performances that step out as far as he goes is the scene where he loses his wife at the beginning of the movie,
Mm-hmm.
and then the scene where he's rowing the boat and then the guard makes him do it by himself.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought he really I mean, when he's in the same scene with Denzel, he really holds his own, and that's not easy to do. Denzel's just in there chewing up scenery, and you just have to, got to be on your A game. I thought that this movie. One thing about Ridley Scott movies, and I feel like we've talked a couple of them. We talked Gladiator and Alien, and have we done? I know we've done others, but I don't remember what they are. Have we? Didn't we do like a top 5 Ridley Scott movies? I'm sure we've done that several times.
Maybe.
One thing I can always count on with Ridley Scott is just how visually stunning his movies are. Like that opening sequence with the coastal city battle and like the wide shot of like the ocean and the ships coming. Ew, man. It was beautiful.
I wanted to ask you guys, and Jay, because you've seen multiple really good movies in theaters back in the day, knowing that this movie is 24 years older or is 24 years newer than the original, do you guys mind that there are some scenes in this movie that you're kind of like, is that CGI or is that authentic? To where 24 years ago, you're like, they're in an actual big ass water of sea. Does that bother you today, or is that just how good CGI can be? Anybody can answer if you want.
It's a little bit of both. I mean, I think one of my favorite sequences was the first Gladiator sequence with the rabid baboons. I thought that was a really, really cool sequence, but they're fighting against CGI baboons. It's not like, they're not going to bring in real baboons for them to kill, but the first movie, they used actual real tigers in that sequence. Yeah, they were like digitally placed in there, but they were real. You could tell that they had real tigers in that scene. In this one, all the animals are fake. All the animals are CGI. There's much more. Yeah, the CGI looks good, but it's just much more used than they did in the first movie.
Well, I mean, that's obvious. I'm okay with the CGI, but I'm talking about like some of the open water scenes. You know what I mean?
Like the shark sequences and stuff.
Maybe the shark sequences, or like in the ocean when at the beginning of the movie and stuff. Like, it's just common ground that 24 years later, of course, they're going to use more CGI. But are you guys glad that the CGI is so good now to where it kind of? Did you guys have any? Pretty much what I'm asking. Did you guys have any issues with the CGI in the movie?
I just had problems with certain. I just didn't buy into certain things, like the whole fighting them. When they were fighting the monkey at the beginning, I was like, I get they fought animals, but it just visually, I just couldn't. Something in my brain didn't click that it looked real enough to me.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just felt off. And then the sharks, if you ask me, they swam too damn fast.
Especially in the bed of like how they filled up the coliseum with the bed of water, I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah, there was a couple coworkers that went and saw this weekend, and they were just like, "That wouldn't happen." I was like, "No, I mean they had those type of fights.
They've had Navy battles back then, yeah,
yeah. So it's not unrealistic. It's just I doubt that they went and got like 12 sharks and threw them in there.
Probably one or two.
If anything, I
at least the mermaid.
The lighthouse, yeah. Mm-hmm. No, I mean, going back and rewatching the first movie, the CGI in that still looks really good, especially like the wide shots of the Coliseum. I was like, wow, this is actually still pretty decent 24 years later. And yeah, there's still the CGI. I mean, I would agree. Without nitpicking it, the CGI is good in this film, to say the least.
I think it's been a lot better than some of the past Marvel films.
Yeah.
And they had a bigger budget.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
So let's have a historical, accurate kind of conversation. The Coliseum that they are in historically, that's still somewhere in Rome, right? There is actual Coliseum in Rome.
Yeah.
You think maybe they would have like tried to do some on location stuff, but this is probably way cheaper, right?
Well, it's cheaper, and
You're not destroying a natural landmark.
That, and they're not going to allow him to go film in that in the real Coliseum.
That'd be pretty cool, though.
Now they might let them go in there and have their technicians do like a laser scan of the area, so they can implement the measurements and shit into a computer, and they can use that as a reference point to like see we scanned the real area and created our own out of it.
So I thought this movie, to me, it went by a lot faster and action paced, way more entertaining than the first movie. That's just me, though.
No, I would agree. Rewatching Gladiator, the first one before going to see the second one, I didn't struggle with it, but like some of the I felt like the time length of the first one didn't really justify the movie.
Yeah.
While this one, 2.5 hours is like, yeah, you probably need that to flesh out the characters and set everything up.
I didn't mind the movie, entirely. It was just certain parts of it. What's her Connie Nielsen,
The
her
Mon.
character. Oh man, anytime she was on screen, and she was trying to show emotion. Like there was one time during the movie where I chuckled quietly to myself, and I'm like, "Oh my god!" I don't know if it was just me or what, but I was like, "Is she trying to emote? She's sad in this scene." I don't know. I don't know. There was a couple scenes where I just found her acting to be pretty horrendous.
I agree. There's some scenes in the first one where she's like not, you would think her character would be more involved, but maybe it was because of the acting chops where she wasn't heavily involved like she probably should have. Same thing in this movie. I think she's the only returning character, correct, Zach? Or technically actor.
Well, there's Connie Nielsen, and I think his name is Jacob Irobi. He played one of the sitters in the first movie. Like those are the only two returning characters. Obviously Lucius is a returning character, but it's a different actor.
Right. I did see something on Google that Russell Crowe wanted desperately to be involved with this movie so bad that he even threw ideas out to Ridley Scott about being involved as far as a ghost or something that comes back and talks to his son.
I'm not even joking with you. At the end of the movie, when he's in the Coliseum and he picks up the dirt and he says, "Talk to me," I literally thought a DH Russell Crowe was going to walk into the Coliseum, and that was going to be the end of the movie.
You know what? It wouldn't have been out of place, I don't think.
Like a Force ghost?
Yeah.
It would have been use the Force. Shit, wrong franchise.
Oh, God.
But no.
That would have been terrible.
But
you'd fuck it. We'd all just sit there like, fuck it. They just crossed over.
We probably would have teared up. What do you think Ridley Scott's choice of not using him at all? You think it had anything to do with the weight, or do you think he just did not need him back for this movie?
He didn't need him. He didn't need him back. The character's dead. Like what? There was a joke saying that you think they just at the end of the first movie they just hauled him off screen. He just set up I'm back. I'm good. See you in 24 years.
Yeah.
No, it just no.
They could have had a Force ghost scene in this movie, and to me, it would not have been out of place. It really wouldn't have been some weird fucking funky way. Because if you sit there thinking, whenever they had a little where he was seeing shit in another dimension or some shit like that, where he was dreaming he was underwater or some shit like that.
Oh,
Him having a vision of seeing Russell Crowe's character, that would have been far-fetched at all. He was already seeing shit.
See, in the first movie, Maximus had those same kind of offsetting visions, and those visions ended up him just being dead, and he relived those visions while he was dead. So they flirted with the idea that Lucius was going to die in this movie too, because he was seeing the same visions his dad was, and I was kind of thinking, I'm like, man, are they going to kill Lucius off? Because
no.
I mean, he loses his wife, and then boom, he loses his mom, and kind of the same thing happened to Russell Crowe's character in the first one. He lost his child and his wife.
Yeah,
he kept seeing
The last scene of the movie is a hand going through wheat. So I mean, we did get that back.
That wasn't Russell Crowe's fat ass hand though.
No, it wasn't.
That wasn't his unhinged hand.
It was his DH hand.
Yeah,
That's why it wasn't fat.
that was his hand from 2000.
No, Russell Crowe had to go be in Craven the Hunter. So we have that look forward to.
See, that's what I thought was. I was sitting there thinking about that because they showed the trailer to Craven the Hunter before the Gladiator 2, and I was like, oh look, there's Russell Crowe before we're watching Gladiator 2.
How was our crowd was maybe 25% full, Zach? How was your crowd?
Where'd you go see it at?
The Warren, but in the Grand.
I saw it IMAX Sunday afternoon, and it was, I don't know, probably about 30% full, maybe.
Oof.
Yeah.
Well, it came in number 2, 55 million.
Which, if Ed were here, I mean, he would have been wrong. I think he thought Gladiator 2 was going to be number 1, and I mean, Wicked was going to take number 1 regardless. So,
oh yeah,
that's
going to become that new holiday favorite movie. Where like every I don't know, because didn't they used to just show the Wizard of Oz at Thanksgiving time? So they're playing on that little like, here, look, a new Wizard of Oz at Thanksgiving time.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, Wicked Part 2 actually comes out next year, so it'll be kind of a 2-year. Yeah.
So if they want to tell any more stories afterwards, shit, they got plenty of books to go through.
You didn't go see it, Johnny, did you?
What?
Wicked.
No, I'm going this week.
Okay.
Have you?
No, we're seeing it Thanksgiving.
Yeah. So, man, my highest praise was that this movie just has a lot more memorable performances and scenes.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean,
I thought the rhino scene whenever it smashed into the wall and it broke its horn and shit like that. I thought that was a nice little ingenious way. But
I kind of wish they had they hadn't put that in the trailer, because that would have been a really cool epic scene, like the baboons. Honestly.
Yeah, the rhino scene was probably my favorite scene. What'd you think of going towards the ending and Denzel just manipulates everybody? He gets one of the emperors to turn on the other emperor, and then Denzel helps kill technically both of them. And just for a little bit, you think that Denzel is going to be the new emperor and ruler of all of Rome.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, I think that his performance is really it's so conniving and so sleazy that you really you kind of root for him to succeed in what he does, but at the same time he's willing just to kill anyone to get to that power. And ultimately when he kills the mom, I really thought like, oh wow, like he's willing to do anything at this point. And I really liked the one-on-one gladiator fight with him and Lucius at the end of the film.
Oh yeah, and then they have him in the water.
Yeah,
gets his hand chopped off, all Luke Skywalker like.
You laugh, but I mean that does happen. So
yeah, that is true.
There's a lot of blood. I was like, hell yeah, it looked practical.
I really thought that like after he cut his hand off, he would just look at it, and then like Lucius would cut his head off, and he'd just fall into the river.
See, that's what I thought. I thought he was going to get his head chopped off, and it was going to be like
the tragedy of Macbeth
all over again. Yeah,
yeah.
And I don't know why, but we always have to give praise. Can we give praise to Denzel over and over again? Because he's a pretty awesome fucking bad guy. I'm sorry for the language, but like I'm just so passionate when it comes to talking about Denzel. Like, am I wrong? Like everything he does, he's the best part of this movie.
Yeah,
he was the best part of the tragedy of Macbeth.
Yeah, I mean you're not. No, I mean I really think that honestly, him being in this movie was a big draw. I think if he wasn't in it, I don't think this movie would have made as much money as it did. I mean, truthfully,
Ridley Scott would have went out and got Don Cheadle to be in this movie.
Oh Jesus, yeah.
And I
Oh,
and I like the dialogue that was written for Denzel throughout the entire movie.
yeah,
Like no piece of dialogue for Denzel went unused or it didn't
yeah.
make sense. Like it was all made there to make sense.
I like how like he really sets up this story about like how he was a gladiator and all this and that. But the truth
Yeah.
is that he was a slave under Marcus Aurelius, and like this is his revenge. I was
This
like,
is his
oh,
revenge. And
I was like, that's cool.
Jay asked me a few days ago. He was like, "What do you think the plot What'd you say?"
Oh, you're gonna have to definitely remind me. Well,
A few days ago, he was like, "What do you think the surrounding plot of Gladiator 2 is about?" And without even knowing who Denzel was or was about, I didn't know if it was going to be Denzel. I didn't know if it was going to be Lucius. But I told him I was like, I think it's going to be a revenge movie.
And,
Just and that's me going into it only seeing one teaser. Obviously, I was pointing towards more of a Lucius revenge story, but it's fun how you can take that singular word, revenge, and it has to do with Lucius, it has to do with Denzel's character, and it has to do
everybody's using everybody for their own means.
yeah,
yep, essentially, yeah.
yeah. So yeah, phenomenal movie, at least in my point. I think let's talk now about like hardware.
Whoever played the two people that played the emperors, man, that anytime they were on screen, I was annoyed by them. But I don't know if that was just their characters and they were done well, or they were. I don't know, man. I was annoyed by them.
No, they were definitely made to annoy and like you really want them to die, essentially.
Yeah, yeah.
The
And,
the short one, I thought he definitely had some mental health issues.
yeah. Those two those two performances. You're talking about the one with the monkey, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
the one with the little fucking cap on his tooth. You know, he got some gold in his teeth.
Yeah. Yeah, those two were definitely put there to just make you despise them. You guys think this movie could get or at least earn some nominations come Oscar time, or do you think that eh,
No.
Oh no, I think Denzel's in the running for best supporting actor. I think truthfully. If anything, I think it's going to be that, and I think a lot of people are saying just because Ridley was snubbed with the first Gladiator, they're saying that he might win it for this.
Oh no. This year's Wicked's year.
I mean,
Wicked's gonna win everything this year. Stop, both of you. It's fucking over with.
I mean, I am super.
That's the movie we should have been reviewing this week was Wicked.
I am really shocked. I am really shocked at how many praises this Wicked is getting this year, though.
I swear to God,
It's
Jay,
gonna win everything.
if I go in there and hate that movie, I'm fucking sending you hate mail. I don't give a shit. I don't
For
care.
me,
Yeah, you.
I haven't seen it.
You,
My
you
daughter.
hyping it up. You hyping it up. It's going to be win best picture. Well, we'll see.
Well, everybody, it's got like. Have you not seen the Rotten Tomatoes score?
Yeah,
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like super fucking high.
it's super high.
No, I mean I hope it's good. I mean I want it to be good. So yeah, 90% Rotten Tomatoes and god damn 96 audience score. So yeah,
See, yeah,
Moana
it's
2's
gonna
not
be
even,
unanimous this year. Everybody's gonna like popular vote.
Moana 2's not even getting that. The reviews for that came out today, and it's not even
I know.
getting
I
as
seen the
good.
one review. It got a 6.
Yeah, it's not getting as good as the first movie. So we'll see about that.
I failed to mention this earlier in the recent watches, but I've sat there and watched that 8-minute short today called Star Trek Unification about the character of James T. Kirk. If I suggest giving that a watch out there. I forgot to mention that.
James
Sorry.
T. Kirk.
That's about him and Spock. About Spock dying and shit like that, and Kirk telling him goodbye, and they go off into the.
Let's go into some favorite scenes for Gladiator. Honestly, if I had to name a few quick scenes, it would be the Rhino Gladiator scene, which I thought was pretty cool. I liked how he got the Rhino out of commission. Um, And then the scene where Denzel kills the two emperors, and then he unravels his big master plan. I thought that was pretty kick-ass.
Mm.
Jay, what about you?
The rhino scene, I thought, then again, I think we're all going to agree on that one. Like I said, I even liked how they got rid of the rhino. I didn't mind the naval battle. It was, it's cool to hear it be talked about, throughout history that, they did fill up the Coliseum a little bit and have naval battles back in the day, but to be able to see one on screen, it was pretty cool. I don't know necessarily if they would have had all that maneuverability room and shit like that, but hey, it's cool. So, it was cool to see something that, you wouldn't necessarily get to see unless they've done it in a movie like this. The fight at the end of the movie with Denzel and everything, that shit was bloody. I liked how bloody it turned into like a little horror flick all of a sudden at the end of it. Or that might just be where my brain went because I had been watching a bunch of horror movies leading up to seeing this in theaters. Is that all of a sudden, Homeboy's arm's just gone and it's just squirting blood? I'm like, oh yeah, that's a good, yeah, there we go.
There was a lot of blood in this, more than the first one, so it was pretty gruesome.
Another little detail I liked is that Lucius, wasn't it? His arm, he kept having to get his arm patched up. You notice that?
Oh yeah, he did.
Yeah.
Like that one spot on his bicep always kept getting cut back open, and
That guy too. That guy's arm he was fixing before the first Gladiator fight. You're kind of like, man, that's gonna be his buddy throughout the movie. Nope, he dies right in the very first fight scene.
he was
I
just
thought
exposition.
if you want to talk about death, I thought one of the coolest deaths was the guy getting impaled by the rhino horn. I was like, damn,
Oh, yeah.
literally across the Coliseum.
Or the guard that kept picking on Lucius throughout the whole movie. He gets the wooden sword.
Oh yeah.
That was a good death too. There was
Yeah.
a lot of very good fight scenes in this movie, to where at some point, you guys remember the movie Fighting with Channing Tatum?
Mm-hmm.
I was like, man, this kind of has some of the same choreographed fights as that movie. I wonder if they are both Universal movies, but still. Anyway, didn't think I'd bring up Channing Tatum today. Zach, what about you? Favorite scenes?
I'll say that the opening sequence, coastal city battle, I thought was really well done. There was a really cool, another cool death was a guy being impaled by a giant spear. I thought that was cool. The feral baboon fight, I thought that was that to me was the highlight of the film, honestly, in my opinion. The rhino sequence, which both of you have said, and then honestly, like as a character moment, Denzel revealing to Lucilla that he was a slave under Marcus Aurelius. I thought that was Denzel really delivered that scene. I thought he did excellent on that.
Yeah, he did. Star rating for the brand new Gladiator 2. Zach, we'll start with you.
As of right now, like I said, great fight sequences, great direction from Ridley Scott. I would agree with you, Johnny. Two great performances with Paul Mescal and Denzel Washington. Like I said, it just the similar story structure. I don't know. I think we could have done a little something different, but it is what it is. I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 5 for right now.
4 out of 5. Jay, what about you?
I'll go 3.5. Like I said, I had some problems going. There were some music cues that I heard in the movie that they're just me that whenever I hear like the oh type of music, it just pulls me out where I'm just like, oh come on, we went there again. There was some of the acting that just kind of pulled me out of it. A lot of it come on Connie Nielsen's part. It hurt. Like I said, when she tried to do that scene where she's trying to tear up and cry about something, I'm like, okay, she's trying to be emotional, but there's nothing coming through. And I seen her death coming a mile away. I figured she was going out. But 3.5. The movie had good fight sequences in it. Like I said, it was cool to see the naval battle realized on screen. So, what about you?
There hasn't been that many of these movies for me this year. The first Gladiator, I give a 4. I thoroughly enjoy Gladiator, the story, the characters, the mythology of the Coliseum, and I think this movie is the exact same as well, a 4. That's without Denzel. With Denzel, I'm giving this movie a 5. I think this movie is one of my favorites of the year. I liked the action sequences throughout the entire movie. No piece of action was done unneeded. Some of the performances were therefore lackluster, just 2 or 3 of them, but I think it's brought up by the writing, and I think it's brought up by the performances of Denzel, Pedro Pascal, Paul Mescal, and the 2 guys who play the emperors. I think those 4 performances are solid enough to bring this movie up and to be serious and to just have a very, very good time at the movies. So I think this movie needs to be seen on like the biggest screen possible as well. The blood, the action, and the story was there. It was yes, it was a sequel, and yes, it was like we've been there, done that. But I like
It
the
was well
rise.
done.
Yeah, I like the rise and the resistance of feeding us something new, but yet also old as well.
We'll see the next time you can see the guy that played the emperor, the first one, the first one that gets killed. He plays Johnny Storm in the Fantastic Four movie.
Oh, nice.
So that's the next time you'll be able to see with Pedro Pascal.
That's true.
And Reed Richards.
Yeah, the Pedro Pascal cinematic universe. Yep.
Yeah.
So I like this movie a lot. I think so far it's one of my favorite movies of the year. I think I'd be able to go see it again and have that much more fun with it, if not a little bit more fun, since I know the twists are coming.
Out of curiosity, like, do you have a top 3 of the year so far?
I do, but not just right off the top of my head.
Fair.
Got to save that for an episode, brother.
You don't want to give away your list too early.
Yeah, I'm not all about premature lists. Speaking
of lists,
other than that, I really do think
I'd rewatch this. I'm not gonna lie. I'd sit there, give it another shot. But I'd probably sit down and watch Gladiator 1 to see if there's any. Because you guys went into it seeing both. Having seen the first one. And me, I haven't revisited the first one in years. So.
But like I said, I think I wasted 2.5 hours before going and seeing Gladiator 2. I don't think I really the only thing I felt was an emotional presence of Russell Crowe's character.
So we needed a Force Ghost scene, right?
When I heard Maximus, I got emotional just because I had watched the first one. So that's it. But
we needed a whole look. He needed a whole look in the camera moment. It was like remember who you are. Bring in like all of that shit.
Bring in
remember who you are, Kal-El.
No. God, I've been terrible.
That's funny. But next week, guys, join us for the first week of December as we are talking our top 5 Robin Williams movies. We'll have a little profile piece on the beloved actor. We'll also, again, have some jam-packed news for you, a new updated box office list, and some recent watches. So November is officially over, guys. On to December and on to Robin Williams. So before we get out of here, anything else you guys want to mention?
No. Go check out Gladiator 2.
Remember, go ahead.
Check out Gladiator 2. And check out that Star Trek Unification.
Don't forget, Friday the 14th podcast off again this week. Taking the week off for Thanksgiving. We will be back with a new horror review next Thursday night, December the 5th, as we review Christmas, Bloody Christmas. That's next week on a new episode of Friday the 14th podcast. But next week, join us as we talk Robin Williams next week on a brand new episode of the Cine-Men Movie Podcast. Good night, Vietnam, right?